thank you for coming back to my channel. Obviously, this is new for me, but I appreciate everyone who subscribed, who wrote comments, who gave me encouraging words. I'm super appreciative and just grateful for the support. This is very different from me, but I'm excited, like I said in the last video. But for this video, I kind of wanted to let you guys in a little bit, let you know who I am and why I am doing this video. So, as you know, I said I created this channel to talk about God, to talk about Christianity, just to talk about how amazing He is. But I think that a little bit background about myself would be important to give. So, basically, I'm Amber. I grew up in the church all my life, probably was born there. Not sure. But I grew up in the church all my life. My mom is a minister, and me and my siblings, we have been going to church since I can remember. And so growing up, that was the norm for me. Church, home, school, church, home, school. That's just what we did. And outside of church, we had Bible study at home, and sometimes we had services at my house. So growing up, that's what I saw, that's what I was in, that's what I was around. And even elementary school, I went to a Christian elementary school up until the 6th grade. So God was kind of all I knew. My little innocent self, little Amber. God was kind of all I knew then. And then 7th, junior high, public school, I didn't know what was going on in there, but that was my space of seeing the world a little bit, coming from a Christian school, going into a public school. I was like, oh, it's wild out here. That was kind of my transition into the worldly life. And by the time I got to high school, I still was innocent. I guess the Christian innocent girl. But I think that, I don't know, I think when I got to high school, all my friends that I have, I was the girl who didn't curse. I was the girl who didn't fight. I was the girl who was a Christian. And, and unfortunately, I was the judgmental girl. And I think that growing up in the church, you think you're immune to the world. You think you're immune to everything because you're under the church or under God. Excuse me. But so when I was in school, anytime somebody did something that I knew was a sin, I'm like, you're going to hell. I'm just telling you right now that God doesn't like that. Jesus doesn't like that. And you're going to hell. You should, you better repent. And if you ask any of my high school friends, they will tell you that I said that. And they told me I was judging them. But I was like, so I'm trying to help you so that you don't go to hell. And I think that that's crazy. So I apologize to all my friends who I was judging at that age. But by the time I got to college, I think that when you're growing up in the church all your life, you hear the same things over and over again. You hear the same no drinking, no having sex, no, you hear those same things over and over again. And so I think you feel invincible. And so by the time I got to college, I'm like another world that I had never experienced before, whole nother state, whole nother group of people, whole nother group of experiences. But I learned not to judge because you have no idea what you'll do when you're in that situation. So I think that experience kind of taught me, as far as judging is concerned, it taught me that, you can give people advice, but if you're not living what you're telling, then just be quiet. Just be quiet. And so, I started living my life. I think college was new for me. I was on my own. I wasn't at home, which means that church wasn't I have to go. I chose when I read the Bible. I chose when I went to church. I chose, when I prayed. Those were my choices. But what I will say is, I still kept my Christian beliefs. even my college friends, I'm the girl who's like, let's pray. At one point we were every Sunday like reading devotionals. Like, that was me, and I think a lot of people who I went to college with can agree to that, hopefully, if y'all remember me. Because I still had Christ, like I still knew who I was in God, but I was living a little free. I think that once I graduated and I came back home, I still was on my own path. I think that I did have an experience in college where I felt like God wasn't who he said he was for me. And so I felt like I was living this Christian lifestyle, and he wasn't backing me up. Like, he wasn't basically like rewarding me for being a Christian, for living the lifestyle that I was told I should live. And I felt let down by God, and I felt like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be, following the Bible to the T. Maybe everybody else around me is right. Maybe I can go party and have fun. Maybe I can get drunk. Like, at this point, God, I've done everything I think that I should have done, and I'm still not getting what I feel like I deserve. And so I just started living the way I wanted to live. And I think that some moments along the way, there were people like, aren't you a Christian? Amber, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm a person. So, like, leave me alone. Don't judge me. How dare I? But that made it easier for me to sin. It made it easier for me to do what I wanted to do. So, graduated, came back home, and I started going back to church again. I started going to my church now. Well, kind of now. But New Covenant Temple. And I started going there. And, so one thing my mother did not play with, if we're in church and people are worshiping, you better stand up. Because you're reverencing God. I don't care how long of a night you had. I don't care what club you came from. You're going to come to church and you're going to worship. Okay? So I had to be standing up. All of me and my siblings. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and we had to be standing, worshiping God. So I used to stand up and I used to sing quietly like, hallelujah, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. But my pastor, he is a worshiper. Like, he is a worshiper. He can close his eyes and worship God like nobody is in the room. Okay? So I was watching him and also just learning more about my relationship with God, and not necessarily how it was when I was growing up, when I was forced to go to church. This was different. I was reading the Bible. I was going to Bible study. It was like things were changing, and I realized, like, it can't be my way. It's not going to work. Nothing is working out for me. I'm not getting where I want to get. I'm not in a relationship. It was all of these things happening, and I'm like, oh, okay, God, I played myself. Okay, cool. It's time to come back. All right, I'm coming. Like, that's how I feel like it gradually happened, and it just clicked. And when I say it clicked, I mean, one day I was like, me being a Christian, me worshiping God, me living this lifestyle is not about me. And I promise you, this was like 5 years ago. I'm like, it's not about me. It is about those people around me who can look at me and say, you know what, if Amber did it, I could do it too. It's about the example that I should be setting to non-believers, the example I should be setting to those who are believers but are slipping and falling, and being an example just for God's kingdom. And I think that when it clicked, I like shut everything down. Like, when I say I shut everything down, I stopped, excuse me, I stopped drinking, I stopped going to parties. And when I tell you I went to work and church and home, that was it. I basically was back in elementary. I went to work, church, home. Like, work, church, home. During the week, was practice, it was Bible study, it was work, church, home. And then when I was at home, I was in my room watching sermons. I was watching sermons on YouTube. That was my life. Like, I just, everything just switched at one time, and I just felt like this was my job to do. And so I think that the more I did that, I started like, I was in the praise dance ministry at church. I was in the choir, and now I'm getting to a space where I'm like worshiping God out loud. I'm not nervous. I'm not looking to see who's watching me. I don't care if my notes are right. I'm just in the pew, like crying hysterically, literally hands in the air, and I am just like worshiping. And that was the hold on. I felt like I was about to cry. Give me a minute. That was like the first time I really felt like I created an atmosphere for God to be in, and He was like there with me. And it's like something I can't describe, because it was like my first time experiencing it. And I realized this is what I was missing out on all of these years. I was nervous and scared to just worship Him in front of people. And so I don't know, like, as I began to change my life, I think that I became more confident in God. And so next thing you know, I'm on the praise team. And I like I said in my last video, I sing for Jesus, okay? So, don't judge me on my vocals because I sing for Jesus. I am a worshiper, period. And so I began to sing on the praise team, and I don't know, like that, then it was different. Now I'm like in front of the whole church. Now I'm crying. Listen, some days there was snot hanging. It was real. And it was one of those experiences that I never thought ever. Like, you could never tell me that I was going to be singing praise and worship, having soul. Like, you could have never told me that. You could never in a million years. And I would say there was a negative part of me like totally switching, right? I think that it negatively impacted my friendships. It also kind of took me back to that space of judgment, because I felt like I transitioned. I changed my life. I'm moving different. I'm not sinning anymore. I'm living this lifestyle. But the people around me who I was hanging out with, who I was doing things with, they were living just like I was living. And I think that where I went wrong was I come off very harsh, and that is something that I definitely have to, work on. I'm still a little harsh. Well, I'm harsh. I come off harsh, and I think that when I think that when I think that I am, just want the best for the person, I'm doing too much. I'm not being patient, and I'm assuming that they're going to have the same process that I'm having, and I'm assuming that they should just get it. And that was a lot for me. Like, why don't you just, what, you don't get it? Like, it's about God. You don't get it. But that was wrong for me, because I'm not pulling you closer to God. I'm pushing you away. But I didn't get that then. And I'm not going to lie to you. This was for 3 years. This was 3.5 years. This was happening. Like, I was focused, because nothing was getting past. Nobody. I was like, not happening. Jesus is the love of my life, and that's it. That's what we doing. But I met my husband, Husbae, and obviously then he was just a guy, and his name is Enoch, by the way. And we weren't even dating at this point. We went on a walk, and I said, listen, this is my life. I go to work, I go to church, I go home. People feel like I'm judgmental because I'm very serious about God, and they need to understand it's about Him. And so he basically he told me, he was like, you you understand that everybody doesn't have the same journey as you, and you have to be understanding because you're no different from them. And the only thing that's different is that this was kind of your season to change things around. So, I'm looking at him like, you know what you're talking about. You don't even know me. I just met you. But actually, he was right. And I think that he was able to bring a balance to my Christianity and my Christian walk and my Christian world, because um, not only was he able to, I was able to see where he was coming from, and then also able to see where I went wrong um, in my process. But as time went on, I think that my relationship with God got stronger. My understanding for everyone outside of me also got stronger, because I'm not perfect. I never will be perfect. Only God is perfect. And so, as a Christian, I need to be patient. I need to be kind. I need to be understanding. I need to be realistic. And I need to understand that um, I cannot judge anyone. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. And I really started, like, when people ask me for advice, I'm like, listen, I can give you what I think you should do, but nobody really knows what they'll do until they're in the situation. So I'm really mindful now. Um, but as far as this channel is concerned, I'm still singing praise and worship. And not only that, you know, I think that being on the praise and worship team, it just brought this like desire out of me. It brought like, I'm gonna sing with my eyes closed, because that's where I'm most comfortable. I'm gonna sing with my eyes closed, and I'm gonna sing as if God, Jesus, if he's standing right in front of me. And so when I'm singing, I'm just like, God, it's like, sing through me. Like, let everyone that I'm ministering to see you, and not see me, but see you. And I think it's it's different as you start singing, when you realize you're ministering, and and this is a ministry, and you're ministering to those around you. And so when I say ministry, I don't mean I'm a pastor. I don't know if that there's the calling on my life for that, but I do feel like when it comes to my friends, you know, I'm the one who's the church person. I'm the one who is like, what happened? Jesus ain't say that. Like that. That's me, and I love that about myself. But I also love the fact that my friends are so open and so just, they allow me to be myself. And I think that's the best thing you can ask for in spaces where sometimes being a Christian is not always, you know, a good thing in some people's eyes. And so I think I don't only want to be that person to my friends, but if I encounter someone who just wants to know about God, who just needs prayer, who just is in a space where they're confused, they don't know, they're unsure. If I can be that person to say, listen, these are the only words you have to say in order to be saved. And no, the Christian lifestyle is not easy. That would be a lie if I told you that. But it is worth it, because the joy that you get from just knowing that Jesus died on the cross for me, and understanding that I am not worthy of anything. I do not deserve anything, but he died on the cross for me. And he's cheering me on every day. He's cheering me on every day. And guess what? When those trials and tribulations come, when life is hard, when depression is on you heavy, when you are just overwhelmed, you literally can give it to God. And I think that's the thing that it's hard for people, because you're so used to carrying a lot. You're so used to carrying a load. But it's like, when I thoroughly understand, like, I can pray and I can give all of this to God, He will carry my burdens. Like, it's like, oh wait, so I don't have to be stressed. And don't get me wrong, we're human, so stress comes. But it's like, are you gonna allow it to take you to a space that you're not gonna come back from? Because we all have been in those spaces where you're like, yep, it's over for me. I've lost it. But when I know I'm in a whirlwind, I'm like, okay, God, I'm about to go left. So I need some type of encouragement. I need somebody to say something to me. I need to open a book and it's there. I need those things. And as you build that relationship with Him, as you're talking to Him, as you're reading His word, things just start coming up. Somebody could walk past you and go, man, God just told me to tell you that everything is going to be okay. Stranger in the street. That's God. It's like those little subtle things are so important. But I think that, sorry, I took y'all from preschool, you know what I'm saying? But I think that journey, it just shows, it shows you the ups and downs. It shows you coming from being forced to go to church to wanting to be in the building, wanting to be around believers, wanting to worship. It's such a different experience when it's you wanting to do it. And I'm grateful to God for a Christian mother. I'm grateful to God for a parent who taught me and all of my siblings that God comes before any and everything. No matter where we've been, where we're going, He comes before everything. And so being in a space now where I get it, I feel like it's my ministry to tell the world. It's my ministry to bring people to Christ. And everybody's not going to want to come, and I get it. But I this is it for me. And I there's a lot of things that come to mind when it comes to purpose. And for those who don't know, I have my own 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. And it's called The Outlet, Plugging Into Your Purpose. And I still have ways to go with it. Believe me, nothing is perfect, but I'm seeing that my purpose is ministry. I'm seeing that my ministry is to be a minister. I'm seeing it, and to be in a place where I'm moving in God's will. And that's the only place I want to be. I want to move in His will, not my own, not anyone else's. I want to move in God's will, because He is all that matters. And if I go left and that's not His will, I'm going to go through all these things that I didn't have to go through. If I would have just focused and I would have stayed on what He wanted me to do, I would have been fine. And I'm going to be fine. So I just want, hopefully you got something out of this. I know I was rambling. I'm so sorry. But I do want, I want people to find God. I want people to be able to build that relationship with God. I want to be able to talk about God and talk about my experiences, talk about things that were hard, things that I got through. I want to be able to be that example to people who grew up in church and strayed away but came back, or people who didn't grow up in church, who don't know God. I don't care where you are on the spectrum. I just know that if I do one thing in this world, if one person is saved by this channel, I have done what I'm supposed to do. And that's all that matters to me, because it's all that matters to God. So hopefully, you know, as we move forward, you guys will be able to worship with me. You'll be able to talk about God with me, and we'll just have an amazing experience. Um, Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.